So in my last video, I asked if you guys wanted a video of me reading all 7 volumes of RuneScape's Gielinor's Flora book series, and I got enough yeses that I wanted to do it. So here it is. Gielinor's Flora, all 7 books, the Gielinor's Flora series, read like a bedtime story, with extra insights from my loner accounts. Volume 1. Gielinor's Flora, Flowers. Marigolds. Marigolds produce small orange flowers with feather-like leaves. These flowers produce a pungent scent that deters many common insect pests. However, due to producing a toxic chemical in the roots, marigolds should not be planted too close to certain crops. Along with repelling insects, marigolds will also repel small herbivores due to their dislike of the smell. Rosemary, a woody evergreen with needle-like leaves. The name rosemary derives from Old Saradomist texts, where it is known as Rose marinus. You know, somehow I don't believe this because rosemary exists in the real world and Saradomin is fictional, or at least we don't know about his existence. So, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, or a grain of leaves, I guess. This roughly translates to sea dew, likely due to the fact that rosemary thrives by the sea. Rosemary requires very little water. It can withstand droughts for very lengthy periods. That is not correct grammar. Wow. The leaves are often used to flavour foods, particularly meats. Rosemary sprigs are regularly used as a symbol of remembrance and often thrown into the graves of fallen soldiers. Nasturtiums. Nasturtiums have bright orange flowers and rounded, shield-shaped leaves. Producing a pungent odour, the name nasturtium literally translates to nose twist. All parts of nasturtium are edible. That's also incorrect grammar, including the flower, which makes for an excellent addition to salads due to its slight peppery taste. Woad. Woad produces an eye-catching display of golden flowers and has blade-shaped, bluish leaves. Interestingly, woad is from the same family as the cabbage. Since ancient times, woad has been an important source of blue dye. Aha, like the quests that we do. Well, not the non-PC interaction accounts, but most other accounts. However, it requires a great amount of skill to produce this dye. Is this why there's no blue dye spawns anywhere? I'll have to look at the red berry pages and the onion pages to see whether red dye and yellow dye are also affected. According to an expert on dyes from Gielinor, the process requires lengthy fermentation of the leaves. Oh, this expert is Aggie, the witch in Gielinor who makes dyes and stuff like that. However, if persistent, the dye produced is a splendid colour. Limpwort, a woody vine with a large pink flower. Grown for its large tuberous root system, limpwort is a useful ingredient in potions. Although not popularly consumed, it has an earthy, pungent aroma and a very bitter flavour. It is most definitely an acquired taste. One group that appears to have acquired this taste are hobgoblins, for they are often seen chewing on limpwort roots. White lilies, a tall, leafy floral stem that bears several fragrant white flowers. These sweet-smelling beauties take pride of place in any garden. Although magnificent, white lilies have a dark side. While reasonably harmless to humans, if ingested by a cat, the results are often fatal. Well, we better hope the white lily patch in the Farming Guild is far away from the gorgeous cat that you can pat in the Farming Guild. I think it is though, because the flower patch in the Farming Guild is on the east side of the Farming Guild, the part that requires only 45 farming, whereas the cat is definitely in the section of the Farming Guild that's north, the section that requires 85 farming. So that is not terribly shit. That's actually quite scary though, so we've got to watch out for that. Got to preserve our cats. The white lily symbolises chastity and virtue, and as such, it has become a potent symbol among Saradomin worshippers. It's always about Saradomin, isn't it? The selfish prick. Anyway, some even believe that Saradomin himself created the lily to improve the crops of his most cherished followers. Belladonna. Belladonna, sometimes known as cave nightshade, is a flowering plant that is closely related to tomatoes and potatoes. That is a plot twist, I did not expect that. However, unlike them, every part of this plant is poisonous, with it reaching its peak deadliness just after flowering. The flowers are thankfully easily identifiable due to being bell-shaped, dull purple, and faintly scented. Symptoms of belladonna poisoning include sensitivity to light, blurred vision, loss of balance, staggering, headaches, rash, confusion, hallucinations, delirium, and convulsions. Its only real use is in the production of poison. That is scary. What a name, by the way, Belladonna. Nightshade is definitely more accurate. Although, I will say, the scabbards south of Castle Walls, or I guess southeast of Castle Walls, yeah, they're on real trips, because they're around Cave Nightshade all the time, right? Because that's the point of that part of the quest. I can't remember the exact name of that quest, but I feel like the scabbards are closely associated with Cave Nightshade. So, yeah, GG to them.
This is actually pretty awesome because I depended pretty heavily on marigolds and rosemary and eventually nasturtiums to help me build my dream farm on my main loner, so this is actually super cool to read.
Volume 2, Gielinor's Flora, Bushes. Red berries. This species is widely cultivated due to its unique taste. Once mature, the berries have an incredibly tart flavour. In order to be palatable, the berries must be cooked, which causes them to lose much of their tartness and become sweeter. So, hang on, these red berries, yeah, do you know what? I always thought of red berries as like kind of like a raspberry sort of thing, just because of their colour, but honestly, these sound more like cranberries more than anything else. As such, the most common dish prepared is red berry pie, a delightful sweet treat with a unique tart hint. Legend has it that this pie was especially popular among the Imkando dwarves. Another use for red berries is in the creation of a potent red dye. Okay, so Imkando dwarves, the Knight's Sword quest, and red dye for various quests. Red berries are native to the kingdom of Mistlin. However, due to their popularity, they can be found across the world. Yeah, because I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you can get red berries from Land's End on Zaya, which is definitely not in Mistlin. Cadaver berries. Cadaver is an old word which translates to corpse. Well, that's upsetting, but that does make sense in the context of the Romeo and Juliet quest. The reason for this name is clear, as all parts of the bush are poisonous, not to be confused with the poison ivy bush, by the way. The berries are by far the most toxic, and if ingested, they can cause stomach pain, vomiting, reduced heart rate, blurred vision, and drowsiness. Oof. Thankfully, they are easily identifiable by their bright pink berries, so few accidents occur. These bushes are mainly found near Varrock and are not commonly found elsewhere due to the danger they pose. Well, how convenient, you know. Cadaver berries in Varrock, Romeo and Juliet both in Varrock. They are star-crossed lovers for a reason. It is a crazy coincidence, although because this is a video game, it would have been conveniently coded so that like Romeo and Juliet are in the same location as the cadaver berries anyway. So like say Romeo and Juliet moved to like frickin' Weiss or something like that. I'm sure cadaver berries would have been coded to be like, yeah, they can only thrive in snow, just conveniently exactly where Weiss is, ha ha ha. However, the berries do still have some limited uses, as skilled apothecaries can use them to create cadaver potions. These potions are used as powerful sleeping aids by those suffering from extreme insomnia. That's very interesting. I feel like there aren't many characters who have insomnia in this game, so I wouldn't have thought of that at all. Very interesting. Dwellberries. Dwellberries are native to Kandarin and are mainly found within McGrubber's Wood. Long thought to have curative properties, the people of Kandarin often hang the dried berries above their windows to prevent illness. In times of particularly virulent plagues, the berries are steamed to produce an oil. Oh, interesting. Okay. Grapes to wine is one of the only kind of like fruit to liquid stuff that I know of. So there's wine, there's fruit juice. I would never have thought of berries to oil. This oil is then sniffed through handkerchiefs by the richer or savvier citizens of Kandarin in order to prevent sickness. So I assume that this would be like all the rich kings and that sort of thing. Interesting. Okay, so who's the king who got kicked out of Camelot Castle so that King Arthur and all them lot could roll in from England? Who was that king? I think it was like, is his name King Uther? I don't know if it was King Uther, but it was like, I remember King Lathis from Ardoin specifically wanted to create the Underground Pass and do all that, like summon the Dark Lord nonsense so that he could take over King Arthur's castle. Yes, that one in Camelot, by the way. Like, look how dark it all got. For the freaking, like, mourners and the faked plague and all that sort of stuff, all so he could take over a puny-ass castle run by King Arthur, who just completely took it for granted, as, yeah, I would have done it as well. I was just like, yeah, sure, you know, I'll just rock up. I mean, it makes sense, like, why King Lathis would be pissed, but, like, damn, you know, just, I mean, he went so much farther than he needed to, honestly. I mean, the Knights of Camelot Castle are only, what, combat level 127 at most? I mean, you don't need the literal Dark Lord in order to take over the castle. Seriously. Anyway, Jangaberries. Jangaberries are sour and bitter-tasting berries that originally come from the Feldup Hills. That makes sense because the Jangaberry spawn is on that little island with the ogres by Feldup Hills, so that's consistent. Hang on a second, so how did the Jangaberries get to the fruit stalls in Hesidius? That doesn't make sense. It's not like Vales, like, just picked up a bunch of Jangaberries from Feldup Hills. We have no record of him having ever gone to Feldup Hills, and spoiler alert for the A Kingdom Divided quest, that cabin boy guy who replaces Vales at the end of the quest, maybe he brought some over, but the thing is, Zaya and the fruit stalls, and I'm pretty sure Jangaberries being in the fruit stalls definitely arrived before that cabin boy guy did, right? So it would have been Vales who originally somehow got the Jangaberries over to the fruit stalls in Hesidius. So how did that happen? Jagex, please explain! Their taste means that they are not overly popular to the citizens of Gielinor. However, what they lack in culinary expectations, they make up for in their usefulness to warriors. So they would not be in demand at the Hesidius mess hall, but they would be in demand by the soldiers over in Berthorpe near where you start the Death Plateau quest. That's what that's telling me right now. This is because these berries can be used in various potions to improve one's prowess in battle. White berries. Native to the forests of Izafta. I think there's a white berry spawn in Izafta as well. These berries are uniquely adaptable as they generally prefer to act as a parasite on trees. All I can think of when I see Parasite on the page right now is the Venom movie series, the Venom Marvel movies, and Eddie referring to his like Venom symbiote as a parasite, and the Venom symbiote takes that as an insult because for him it's symbiosis, and Eddie's like, parasite, parasite, and yeah. Well, not like that, but shout out to Venom 3, by the way. Hopefully that's still in the cinemas by the time this video comes out. Probably not, but shout out to that one. However, with correct nutrients, they can still be grown independently by experienced farmers. They are primarily used in the creation of defensive potions. I think that's consistent, yeah, because it's white berries plus canatines for defense potions, right? The super defense potions. However, they do also have cultural significance around Windtumber. This is because they're used as decoration under which lovers are expected to kiss. Aha! So Windtumber seems to be RuneScape's version of Christmas. That does make me wonder, like, what if Jagex did their next Christmas event and call it Windtumber instead? That would be wild. Also, white berries seem to be mistletoe. And yeah, mistletoe is a parasitic plant, I think, in real life. So that works out. That's awesome. So white berries, so every time you plant a white berry in RuneScape, you're planting mistletoe. You're getting into that Christmas spirit. So what would be really exciting is if someone did like a Christmas video, just like a shitpost Christmas video, where to celebrate Christmas, they just planted white berries in every single bush flower patch that they could. In every single bush patch that they could. That would be really cool content. I think anyway. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree, but I would enjoy it. At least I think I would. So yeah, poison ivy. As the name suggests, this plant is incredibly poisonous. every part of it contains toxins that, from a mere touch, can cause an itchy, irritating, and sometimes painful rash that lasts for many days. The toxins that cause this rash are in abundance in the berries themselves. Because of this, they make an unquestionably gruesome weapon poison that, also I think that's meant to be a full stop instead of a comma after themselves, but maybe they'll update it, who knows, is often used by less than honourable sellswords. Sellswords? I have never seen that word before. I thought it was going to say like swordsmen or swordspeople, but less than honourable sellswords. That's what happens when a warrior sells out to marketing companies, right? Like, surely. Anyway, causing swelling, vomiting, and fever, victims have described the experience as feeling like your blood is boiling within you. That is a horrifying description. That is not okay. Makes me think of Tormented Demons, actually, from RuneScape 3, I think? Yeah. Update though, Tormented Demons do end up coming into the old school RuneScape game as well, as of 2024, so that is interesting. Volume 3, Gielinor's Flora, Hops.
Oh no. Oh, I have such bad memories of hops. Just all my hops are dying all the time on the main learner. But anyway.
Barley. A cereal grain and a member of the grass family, barley is a key ingredient in beer and whiskey. According to historians, barley beer is likely one of the first alcoholic drinks ever developed by the early settlers of Gielinor. In order for barley to be edible, the fibrous outer hull must be removed. Before brewing, the process of malting is started, where the grain is placed and soaked in hot water and allowed to grow slightly. This is halted by drying under heat. Once the barley malt is made, the brewing of ale can begin. This is done using a brewing vat filled with water and barley malt as a base. Most ale is fermented with ale yeast and flavoured with hops. Okay, so barley is the very beginning of brewing stuff, right? So I think that is consistent with what happens in games. So, and you do cook barley on a range, it can only be cooked on a range to get that barley malt required for brewing. So yeah, that makes sense as well. Jute. While not a hop, interesting, jute is often grown alongside them due to its similarities. The word jute actually applies to the fibre produced from the plant, with the leaves being known as mallow. Interesting. Mallow is used in some cultures for culinary purposes, while the jute fibres from the stem and outer skin are used in the creation of a strong thread. Jute fibres are uniquely long, soft and shiny, and are extracted through a process known as retting. The thread produced by these fibres is used in the creation of twine, rope, sacks, and nets. And I remember on my main learner, I did use jute to make like sacks and that sort of thing, just because. And also to help make a scarecrow to protect my sweet corn allotments. Interestingly, the people of Hesidius, famous for thinking of ingenious ways to use every part of a plant, are known to create a stew from the plant. This dish is known as molo. That is interesting though, because I feel like the only reference to molo in the entire game is right here in Volume 3 of Gielinor's Flora, Hops. So that is interesting. That would be fun content to add, I reckon. Hops. Okay, we're just going with the generic name for now. We'll get to the rest later, I guess. Hops are climbing plants that are commonly trained to grow up strings in a hop field. To grow up strings. I'm not sure that makes much grammatical sense, but sure, I'll roll with it. The word hop refers to the flowers of these plants, which are mainly used in the flavouring of ale. Historically, hop varieties are identified in two ways. The first is by geographic location, such as Asgardian hops. The second is by the farmer, who first cultivated them, such as Hammerstone hops. Hammerstone hops were first cultivated by Agnar Hammerstone in order to brew a better tasting dwarven stout. His innovation gave us the flavour that we know and love today. Well, my main learner doesn't know it because unfortunately the only way to get dwarven stouts without buying them from NPCs is to go into the tunnel under White Wolf Mountain, which I should be allowed to do as a tollgate exception, but the frickin' dwarves just block the way and I feel like it'd be too much of an exception to allow it, so devastating, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Dwarven Stout has a roasted wheat taste combined with a sweet, creamy, almost chocolate-like touch. The ale is very popular amongst dwarves, who often use it to prepare for a long, hard day in the mines. Asgardian hops were first bred as a hobby by a Guthixian druid of Tavali, whose name has unfortunately been lost. Imagine if it's actually Coquemix or something, and he's just, I don't know, either been reincarnated a bunch of times, and one of his old incarnations was the Guthixian druid, or it's just Cake Mix, Coquemix, however you say his name, and he was just like, nah, just throw it in the book as a Guthixian druid, and that'll make things more exciting. These hops are used to brew Asgardian Ale, one of the most popular ales in Gielinor. Asgardian Ale is known for having a malt-focused, caramelly sweet taste. Okay, so Asgardian hops were made in Tavali, which is within Asgardia. That's pretty cool. I will say though, Asgardian and Unilian hops, they have a terrifyingly similar colour. Is this evidence of convergent evolution? Well, I guess it'll depend on the taste and all that, so we'll see. Also, Hammerstone hops and Asgardian hops, I didn't realise that they both had specific tastes, which are very, chocolate-based. Like chocolate, caramel. Okay, roasted wheat with hints of chocolate, and then just straight-up caramel. Unilian. It should come as no surprise that the Unilian hop is the result of tinkering by members of the Wizards Guild. Great location, by the way. I do love the portals at the top floor of the Wizards Guild. You know, one takes you to the Dark Wizards Tower south of Falador, or southwest of Falador. Another takes you to the Wizards Tower south of Dronor Village, and the other takes you to the Sorcerer's Tower in Kandarin. So that's pretty great. This variety is an amalgamation of traditional breeding and the magical experiments of a wizard called Soraya. Oh, okay, well we've never seen Soraya, that would be fun lore, huh? Despite the popularity of the ale, Soraya has remained relatively obscure in today's literature. The resultant brew made from this hop has been known since its inception as a wizard's mind bomb. Oh, the blue drink! It's the pale blue drink, or one of the pale blue drinks, but yeah, that's amazing. Granting the user increased magical ability, this ale is not known for its taste, which has been compared to warm tap water with a lot of fizz. So basically, sparkling water in a bottle if it was left us out in the sun for a while. Nice. Do you know what's really crazy? I'm pretty sure on my main loader I specifically planted Unilian hops in the Unil hops patch by a complete coincidence, and it was the very patch that I ended up digging while healthy just to see what would happen, and a dialogue with my character head came up in the chat box that was like, you can't dig up that, it's a healthy plant, essentially. So that's really great. Crandorian. The inception of this variety is hazy at best. It's said that it was first grown by a resident of Sea's village while on a visit to the island of Crandor. Crandorian, but it's spelled K instead of C. I somehow would not have pinned it down to Crandor, the location of the Elvark dragon. It is wildly used to brew dragon bitter. Wildly? Okay, that sounds like it's incorrect grammar, but I don't think it is. An ale known for having a prominent bitterness with a mild, earthy and bready flavour. So, Crandorian is basically black coffee plus bread in a cafe. Wild Blood. A variety that had been passed down for generations by the Wild Blood family of Canifers. Was this before or after Draken took over Mauritania, aka Canifers, and all of that? This hop has become somewhat of a rare specialty and is used in the brewing of Slayer's Respite, which makes me wonder how the fuck the eclectic implings got their hands on Slayer's Respite brews, especially noted versions of them, by the way. And yeah, I just had a look at the wiki, and the only item source for Slayer's Respite other than actually brewing it yourself is getting them as noted drops from eclectic implings, which does not make any fucking sense. Sure, there's an impling spawn kind of in Canifers area. It's in front of the Slayer Tower, and eclectic implings do spawn there, so that's feasible, sort of, but how the hell do they get noted editions of Slayer's Respite? How do they get Slayer's Respite? Or, where are they hiding them? Where are the implings hiding these freaking drinks? They're freaking tiny! I feel like the entire body of an impling is tinier than, a drink, surely. Due to its rarity, finding a vendor of this particular ale presents quite the challenge, in that, having looked at the wiki, there are no vendors that provide this particular ale, unless you count Eclectic Implings provided noted versions a vendor, which, by the way, does make me wonder how the hell do banker NPCs just magically have in-person, non-noted versions of Slay Respite brews? Like, that's not even feasible. Slay's Respite has an unusual, sharp, sour character with hints of lemon and tart apple, like one of those 0% alcohol drinks. That's pretty cool. Volume 4, Gielinor's Flora, Allotments.
Oh, look at that allotment! Yes.
Potatoes. Potatoes are prepared in many ways, and are a main staple of every citizen's diet. Potatoes are also used to brew vodka. The part of the plant we consume is known as a tuber, and is used by the plant as a place to store nutrients. This allows the potato to effectively die in the winter, then provide energy for regrowth during the next growing season. Before this occurs, potato plants produce flowers, which, once pollinated, produce small green fruits. I did not know this at all, and I've not seen it in real life or in game. This is probably a need to touch grass moment, isn't it? These fruits, that resemble green tomatoes, contain the seeds of the plant. The resemblance to tomatoes is no coincidence, as potatoes are directly related to them. However, the fruit cannot be eaten as, like nightshade, another relation, it contains deadly toxins. I actually think it's pretty cool that the entries are at least linked to each other. So the nightshade article is linked to the potato one. However, I will say that the red berry entry did not mention whether red dye was easy or difficult to make, so that part is unresolved. Onions. Onions are served in a variety of dishes, and when cut, they produce a pungent odour, which irritates the eyes. So many of these plants have pungent odours for real. As the onion plant matures, it stores nutrients at the base of the leaves. This creates a swelling and forms a bulb. The layers of the onion bulb are known as scales. In the autumn, the outer scales of the bulb become dry and brittle, forming the onion's skin. If not harvested, the green leaves will die over winter, and new leaves will appear in the spring. Interestingly, onions are toxic to dogs and cats. Hang on, so the white lily is toxic to cats, right? So I wonder if the white lily and onions are linked. Cabbages. Cabbages can be prepared and eaten in many different ways, the most common ways being steaming or stewing. Cabbage produces densely leaved heads and grows in sunny, well-drained fields. It would be interesting if, for all allotments, you had to water them at each stage, with the exception of cabbages, which you'd only be allowed to water in stage 1. Or during one of the several stages that allotments grow in. Cabbages are known to cause an increase in flatulence, which is believed to be due to some of the unique chemicals within them. Tomatoes. While often mistaken for a vegetable, tomato is in fact a fruit. An old adage says that a smart man knows a tomato is a fruit, while a wise man knows not to put it into a fruit salad. Tomatoes develop after fertilization and internally contain the seeds for the next generation. Tomato plants are vines and as such generally need support to remain upright. I would say rip Vine, the short-form video-making service, but I was never really on Vine, so I don't think I'm really qualified to say that, even though I just said it. Tomatoes are naturally covered in fine hairs. Ooh, that's spooky, which would become roots if the plant were to collapse. This allows the plant to survive if the vine is damaged enough to sever its connection to its original root.
Who knew tomatoes would end up meaning so much? They were literally essential to getting into Tithe Farm for the minigame teleport literally as quickly as possible. So yeah, well, still doesn't go in a fruit salad though, apparently.
Sweet corn. Sweet corn can be boiled, steamed, or grilled whole, and predominantly acts as a popular side dish. The sweet corn is in fact made up of many small fruit known as kernels, which are attached to the hard, woody central cob. You know, I never would have thought of the kernels as themselves being fruit. No, I'm not talking about the kernel from KFC. We're talking about the kernels, the individual little parts of a cob of sweet corn. Together, the corn and kernels make up an ear of corn. Interestingly, if you were to count the rows of kernels, you'd find that there is always an even number. Is that true? Can someone check? That just sounds ridiculous. I mean, if it's true, then that's wild, but it just sounds not very true. The ear is covered by leaves called the husk. This acts as protection for the developing fruit. The husk can be removed by hand, which is known as shucking. Well, it shucks it. I don't know. Strawberries. A favourite amongst people of all ages, strawberries can be eaten fresh or made into jams and pies. It may come as a surprise to many that the strawberry is in fact not a berry, even though it's literally in the name. Each outer seed is more like a traditional berry. This is another corn kernel situation, isn't it? Containing the actual seed inside the hard shell. That's very interesting. I wouldn't have thought that because strawberry seeds are in themselves quite small, so I at least wouldn't have thought of that very tiny seed having extra stuff within that, i.e. the actual seed. Interestingly, the variety grown in most allotments around Gielinor was originally produced by a Miscelan breeder. Because of this, it is still known today as the Lumbridge favourite. So the strawberry, at least in the RuneScape world, was created in either actual Lumbridge or some obscure place that is either closer to Lumbridge, so they took on Lumbridge as the name, or it was actually closer to Varrock and they just hated Varrock enough to be like, no, we're not giving the name to you. No. Watermelons, a popular summer fruit, normally eaten fresh in slices or made into a juice. While often the focus is on the red flesh, the outer rind is also edible, making an unusual tasting pickle. Watermelon plants consist of a scrambling vine with stems that are fascinatingly pentagon-shaped. The fruit itself is a special kind of berry with a hard rind and is mostly made up of water. The fruit itself is a berry. How's that possible? Anyway, that's for the scientists to address, not me. The largest ever recorded watermelon was grown by a man named Christopher in Edgeville. It was said to be the weight of a fully grown troll. Now that watermelon is certainly on the edge of something, up to and not including falling off the edge of whatever stick the scarecrow to protect sweet corn against crows was chucked onto. Snape grass. Snape grass has a subtle fruity flavour and is often used in teas. I'll be honest, I did not know that snape grass was edible, let alone that it had any sort of flavour, let alone a fruity one. I know there's fruit teas out there, like versions of fruity tea, where it's just loose leaf tea that happens to have a fruity flavour, and you chuck them into teapots and stuff like that. Maybe this is one of those? When crushed, the leaves emit a fruity smell, which can be used to repel some insects, but interestingly has been known to attract bees. Some gardeners claim that planting snape grass will reduce the amount of pests and increase the number of pollinators, and yet snape grass can't protect any of your allotments from anything, including some actual fruit items like strawberries. The only fruit that is an allotment, it really should be snape grass instead of just the generic, I protect everybody, white lily. So, however, this has never been officially confirmed. Oh, okay. Well, there goes my idea then. Growing in dense clumps, the blade-like leaves change colour from green to red during changing autumn temperatures. Volume 5, Gielinor's Flora, Herbs. What's so interesting about herbs is that planting herbs is the main reason to train farming on any Iron Man account, except for mine, because I can't train herblore, and therefore farming and herblore is completely useless to me. Well, other than reading these books right now on the Zaya learner and making my dream farm on the main learner, although both of these goals were really done just because. Oh, they actually tell you what the uses for them are for. Oh, that's fantastic. Guam. one of the most common and hardy herbs in all of Gielinor. The name and origin of this herb are shrouded in mystery. Legend tells of an island long since lost to the sea, known to travellers as Guam. Of course, there are no records to corroborate the existence of the mysterious island, and that is unlikely to change anytime soon. Uses: attack potions. Marantil. The word Marantil is believed to be a mistranslation of the word Miriam, an ancient Menifite word. Miriam means sea of bitterness, which matches well with the extreme bitter taste of a Marantil. While known for its religious purposes, the herb is often associated with purity and is sometimes used to light incense burners, which is consistent with training prayer by going to your player-owned house, using Marantil on the burners next to the altar that you can build, and getting extra prayer XP. Uses: Guthix Rest, Marantil Tar, and Antipoison. Taramin. Found naturally in tropical regions, Taramin is believed to be one of the earliest cultivated plants on Gielinor. Unusually, it can be grown under flooded conditions. Oh, so this would be a reverse situation of the cabbages from the previous book, where a fun little quirk for Taramin would be, what if you could only grow Taramin by watering it on every single possible growth cycle that it has, which will contrast really well to how every single herb, including the Taramin at the moment, genuinely can't be watered at all, even if you really want to, which nobody does, but that would actually be quite interesting. Not only can the herbs be used in potions, but the starch bulbs, which grow underground, can also be eaten. Uses: strength potions and Taramin tar. Haralander. In ancient writings, Hara appears to mean destroyer. Haralander naturally grows on rocky crevices, and upon reaching maturity, its root system often causes large cracks to form in the rock. This observation likely led to its name. Uses: Guthix Rest, compost potions, restore potions, energy potions, combat potions, and goading potions. Goading potions, I have not heard of that one. Is that a 2024 thing? I don't really know. Goading potions. I thought it was going to say I thought it said goating potions for a second, and I was going to be like, what? The only goats I can think of are on the top of the Trollheim mountain. Raynar means eye-catching in an ancient Caridian language. It is likely that Raynar was given this name due to the floral display of the plant. Oh, it's eye-catching, nice. Raynar is considered a weed, mainly due to its extraordinarily quick growth. Yet they are forever scarce, at least according to the GE prices. Speaking of which, uses: prayer potions and defense potions. Man, what a waste it would be if you used a Raynar on a defense potion. Toadflax. The flowers of a toadflax plant are often believed to resemble a toad's mouth, which is likely where it got the name. This herb is often mistaken for snapdragon and is widespread in rural spots. While it is a useful herb, it can also be seen as a problematic weed in large numbers. Uses: agility potions, Saradomin brews, and antidotes. Yeah, toadflax is definitely a very useful herb, but surely if you brew enough Saradomin brews, it'd be alright. Enough people use them for PVM anyway, so it's fine. Irrit. Irrit has always had cultural significance due to its connection with the dead. Right, I'm thinking of Death the NPC now, which is not good because he's an NPC. Good news is, if I ever die on a UAM, I will never see Death the NPC, because Death the NPC is to help with gravestones, and UAMs don't get gravestones, so got out of that one luckily. It is often found growing in or near graveyards, and is often synonymous with Iclarin, the Menifite god of death. Uses: super attack potions, super antipoison, and antidotes. Avanto. Originally from the Caridian Desert. I think that's the second herb originally from the Caridian Desert. Nice. Its name means moment, likely due to its unusual lifestyle caused by the harsh climate. It sprouts only after rain. Very suspicious because it's in the desert. I mean, it can rain in deserts, it's just rare that it rains in the desert, and it never rains in the RuneScape desert, aka the Caridian Desert, and then soon dies in a matter of days. However, as with most herbs, this once rare species thrives with proper care. Uses: fishing potions, super energy potions, and hunter potions. So with the proper care, this herb can give you more run energy. Take care of it and it'll take care of you, run energy wise at least. Qualm. Originally native to Kourend. What? There's no way that that's feasible. Kourend came out in 2016 and Herblore came out, what, like a decade before that at least? So, no, there's no way that's correct. They are lying. Lying. The person who wrote this is just trying to make Kourend relevant. The name for this herb was given to it by the dwarves. Oh, it's always the freaking dwarves. The dwarves in Saradomin, I swear to God. With the dwarves versus dwarven stout, now this. And with Saradomin, well, yeah. And it means warm death. The name is due to the plant's poisonous sap, which is said to cause a burning fever when ingested. Since its discovery, it has often been used as a main ingredient in poison for various pests. In some foul cases, it has even been used as poison of choice, that's incorrect grammar, for assassins and murderers. Uses, weapon poison, and super strength potions. You know, I don't know what this means by the fact that the same herb is used for both something that can kill you and something that can give you unimaginable strength. Like, literally unimaginable, because this is a video game and we're in real life. But I'd probably say something about make your weakness your strength and make your strength your weakness. Huascar. Native to the towering mountains of Valamor, this herb is believed to have been revered by the ancient healers of the Old Ones. It is said that they used it in rituals to gain a deeper connection to their gods. As such, Huascar is believed to reveal hidden spiritual knowledge and restore balance to the soul. Because of this, it became deeply tied to Valamor's modern religious traditions. Uses: prayer regeneration potions. Snapdragon. This herb is supposedly named due to its resemblance of the face of a dragon. Isn't there that one place which is located in very, very South Karamja where you go into the dungeon for the Legends quest and part of that quest involves a bunch of like structures and little walls around the room being in the shape of a dragon head? Kind of makes me think of that. Native to the rocky areas of Tarawin, little is known of this herb due to the lack of exploration of that region. Uses: super restore potions and Sandfuse serums, which is all around very valuable, of course. No mention in the Snapdragon article of it being mixed up with one of the other herbs, so I think it was Avanto or Toadflax. Interesting. Cadentine. The reasoning behind the naming of this plant is well documented thanks to the studious nature of its discoverers. Caden means spirit of war in the Lost Mage tongue. The name is understandable as Cadentine is used to brew potions used by warriors of all ilks to increase their durability in battle. Uses: super defense potions, bastion potions, and battle mage potions, which is, I think, pretty consistent. Nice. Lantadyme. This plant was so named due to its unusual floral arrangement. Lanta is believed to mean 1,000,000 eyes. When in flower, a collective cluster is produced known as inflorescence. Oh, this does make me think of like bioluminescence, that sort of thing. So yeah, this inflorescence resembles small eyes with its white petals and dark center. Uses: anti-fire potions and magic potions, though I do have to admit, Lantadyme, its appearance does actually sound quite scary. Dwarf weed. Known for its difficulty to cultivate, the reason for this is closely linked to its name. Of course, as a dwarf's being difficult again. What's new? This plant long ago was found naturally at the entrances to dwarven tunnels. No one knows why this plant thrived in such specific environments, and efforts to cultivate it today have yielded no answers. I thought I was going to say that efforts to cultivate it had yielded no height, which I would have been like, yeah, well, that's consistent with dwarves, isn't it? Anyway. Uses: ranging potions, Manify remedies, and ancient brews. Manify remedies makes me wonder if this is part of Raids 3. I've not looked at the content for that, or very much, despite it being long after Raids 3 was released, but you know, I've been on these non-PC interaction accounts, so yeah, please don't mind me. Torstal. Torst is an old Fremennik word meaning thirsty. This name refers to the plant's need for a lot of water. Because of this, it is often found growing near rivers and ponds. I never thought of herbs like that. I think this is, do you know what? I feel like Toadstool would be another one like Taramin, where it'd actually be feasible, just law-wise, not coding-wise, to code it so that Toadstools, if you were to plant them, can only live if you water them on every single growth cycle. That would be interesting. Because of this, it is often found growing near rivers and ponds. Uses: Zamorak Brews, Super Combat Potions, and Anti-Venom. Volume 6. Gielinor's Flora. Trees. Fun fact, on my loner accounts, I can't actually plant any trees at all. Not typical trees and not fruit trees either, because I can't get a gardening trowel from anywhere except from, well, NPCs. The level 7 farmers don't drop them, even though they have literally every other farming tool on their drop table, even if it is a very rare 1 in 128. Although I did luck out massively on my Zaya loner. So,
oaks are native to the Middle Kingdoms of Gielinor, whose temperate climate prove perfect for this particularly useful species. Everyone from the lowliest peasant to the highest king has some oddment or another made from oak. It is used in the manufacture of ships, furniture, floorings, and more.
One notable use is in the making of barrels for storing of wine and liquors,
with the oak adding a particularly unique taste to any vintage. The leaves and acorns of the oak tree are poisonous to most livestock due to naturally occurring toxins. An interesting exception is the domestic pig, which in lean times can be fed entirely on acorns.
Willow. Found across the temperate zones of Gielinor, willow trees can be found near almost any body of water. The willow has a myriad of uses, such as baskets, furniture, and toys. The willow is also particularly useful in medicine, as when chewed, the bark of the tree can treat a myriad of illnesses, such as fever and inflammation. An enchanting story revolving around willows is the tale of the willows which can be found in Great Corrend. Although found across the kingdom, they are in fact not native. Yeah, you know this author's from Great Corrend. They've gotta be. To have, at least 2 pages just regarding the willow trees in King Corrend alone? A well-known legend amongst the people of Hesidius is the story of Alexander the poet. Alexander's beautiful writings of all things botanical won the favour of the then Duchess of Lumbridge. Oh, region interaction. That'd be wild for any Zaya onlys if they were to ever meet a Lumbridge locked account or something. There is definitely at least one from way back in the day. The one that was, I think, locked to the Lumbridge church. That was a meme account, but it's still an account. She was so smitten by his writings that she requested them sent immediately across the sea as soon as the ink had dried upon the parchment. Is that feasible? These people don't have telephones or anything like that, right? There aren't phones in RuneScape, so it's not like the Duchess of Lumbridge, I don't know, had a smartphone, took a photo of it, sent it to this Alexander the poet. So how is that even possible? I actually don't know. In return for his writing, Alexander was granted a request and asked for what seemed to all to be a humble gift, that of a single willow twig. He should have asked for better grammar from whoever wrote about his deeds in this book, because that is incorrect grammar. The Duchess complied and sent the twig with all haste to Corrend, where the learned Alexander planted the twig. I think that's a typo. I think it's meant to be they instead of where the learned Alexander. It might still be okay. Probably not, but it might still be okay. As in, Alexander has learned lessons. Don't know what lesson he learned, other than affection grows on trees, apparently. Legend has it that all of Corrend's willows are descended from this first one. So this makes me think of, I think, the Garden of Tranquility quest, where you have that white tree that you have to grow and you get the last sapling from the oracle on the ice mountain, and it's yeah, I'm chopping this tree or whatever. Just, I'm pretty sure you end up killing that tree, and then you end up planting the resultant twig in Queen Ella Maria's garden, who does not give it 2 flying shits about it, by the way. Not a worthy sacrifice. Shit NPC. Teak, a tropical hardwood tree species that naturally occurs among other jungle trees. Coveted for its durability and water resistance, it is mainly used in boat building exterior construction, furniture, and carving. Although I think the folks over in Karamja just use for literally everything under the sun, so, I mean, teak's beneficial, clearly, but I'm not sure whether they stop using teak and start using mahogany, although I guess we'll find out in the mahogany tree entry. Another prized feature of teak wood is its resistance to termite damage. A final interesting fact is that teak trees are more closely related to mint than to any other trees on Gielinor, although I'm pretty sure you can't grow mint in RuneScape. But if we could grow mint, I would say that anybody with a lot of money would be minted. Maple. A common amber-coloured tree found throughout the world. They produce distinctive seeds called maple keys. So you know how you have the key ring, right, that you get as a reward from a quest? Once more favor, I think. Imagine if you, say for some like Autumn Jagex event, right? They have a key ring, but it's a maple key ring and you can only put maple keys on it. That would be interesting. Jagex, if you use any of these ideas, please credit me at TangledRS on YouTube and Reddit. Thank you. These seeds are attached to a flattened wing made of papery, lightweight tissue. As a result of this ingenious adaptation, they spin and catch the wind as they fall, allowing them to travel a considerable distance. Maple is considered a tone wood and produces excellent musical clarity, and as such is used in numerous musical instruments. Yet for some reason, the Penguins during the Cold War quest did not once think to use maple logs or maple anything to help make their instruments. Big L for them. Mahogany are what the Penguins actually used, a tropical hardwood species producing a straight grain, reddish timber. Mahogany is relatively free of imperfections and with excellent workability and durability. Because of this, it is prized by high-end furniture makers, so the Penguins are divas with expensive taste. Mahogany also resists rot, making it attractive in boat cabin construction. Further, being a tone wood means that it is often used for musical instruments, particularly guitars, producing a better tone compared to other commonly used woods, such as maple. Okay, so they didn't take the L. Okay. The origin of the name is likely a miscommunication of the old Karamjan word Magano. Yew, a rare evergreen tree prized for its durability. Yew is remarkably elastic, making it the ideal wood for products that require springiness, such as bows. That makes sense, it's one of the highest level bows that you can actually fletch. Yews are fairly unique in the plant world, in that separate trees can be either male or female. You learn something new every day. The male yews bloom and release abundant amounts of pollen in the spring, which is unusually toxic, causing headaches, itching, and skin rashes. What is this, the Bush's book? Although all parts of the yew are poisonous to some extent, worrying since thousands of accounts spend 10 hours a day AFK chopping at yews. When treated properly, the roots can be used as an ingredient when making antidotes to common poisons. Well, there's a silver lining at least, or a yew lining, I guess. Magic. A rare type of tree that is typically only found naturally in locations of magical power. Okay, so Magic Training Arena in Alcarid is one. And you know what? Magic trees in the Worldy Resource area actually make some sort of sense because it's not terribly far from the Mage Training Arena, another Magic minigame. It does make me wonder why there's so many Magic trees in Zaya, even if they're not in Arceus. Magic trees have a sort of parasitic relationship. What is this? The Whiteberries page? Feeding off magical energy in order to survive. So is this like the Elemental Workshop 2 quest where they literally have to zap magic levels out of you temporarily just to convert an elemental bar into a mind bar so that you can make a mind shield for the quest? This method of sustaining itself imbues the tree with magical energy, making its wood some of the most prized. Practitioners of the magical arts often encourage the growth of these trees, as they can act as a siphon, preventing excess magical energy, causing any unwanted issues. But rune essence is still really hard to get, so excess magical energy? Where are you getting your magic runes from, huh? Although heavily associated with magic, the most skilled farmers have found success. cultivating these trees. Redwood. Exceptionally large conifer trees, and in fact the largest and tallest trees in the world. These trees can live thousands of years. Native to the kingdoms of Great Corrend and Valamor. Hey, at least that's consistent. These trees are unfortunately at risk in the wild due to heavy deforestation caused by both settlers and various conflicts. Shit. Thankfully, due to conservation efforts, a smaller number of redwoods can still be found, particularly in controlled environments. Spirit. Not much is known about these mysterious solemn onlookers. Do you know what? They do frown a lot, so yeah, solemn sounds about right. What is certain is they are heavily entwined in gnome society, and they take you far from gnome as well. Haha, haha, pun. And act as a useful method of transportation. Anything else that can be said is merely conjecture, and only raises more questions. What, the fact that spirit trees can, well, the main one at least, can store frickin' 3 sets of green ball thingies in its branches? That's not conjecture. That's something that can be proven, not by any of my non-PC interaction accounts, but by pretty much every other account under the sun. It has been said that it is possible to grow these trees from seeds. Yo, there's literally a spirit tree farming patch in the Farming Guild, although it does not mention whether this farming patch was created before or after the writer of this book, I don't know, wrote this book or anything like that, so we'll let him go this time, although incredibly difficult, and best survived by a knowledgeable gnome. Volume 7. Gielinor's Flora. Fruit.
Okay, curry is not in the correct alphabetical order. Neither are coconuts or calquats or dragon fruit, but we'll put that aside. That's fine. Wait. Is it because, like, we're going by order of level? So, like, apples are the lowest level, dragon fruits are the highest. I guess that makes sense, hey? Apple trees produce a sweet, round, edible fruit that is cultivated worldwide. A tasty and nutritious fruit often used as an ingredient to make the classic apple pie. Apples can also be fermented to make cider. All parts of the apple can be eaten. However, eating large amounts of the seeds can cause stomach problems. Apples are very nutritious. And as the old adage goes, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. Well, too bad, because all the doctors have evaporated and all of them are also in Ardoin, which is off of Zaya, but that's besides the point. Bananas. What is normally considered the banana tree by most is in fact not technically a tree at all. It is actually the largest cultivated flowering plant. What appears to be a trunk is actually a false stem, with the stalks of its large leaves forming a tightly packed sheath. When a banana plant is mature, one large cluster of flowers forms known as the banana heart. The banana fruits develop from the banana heat, and this cluster is known as a bunch. The long curved yellow fruit produced is also botanically classified as a berry and can be found in tropical locations such as Karamja. Wait, how do these people know what Karamja is? Like, didn't they arrive here like 10, I don't know how many years ago? Anyway. As well as the fruit, other parts of the plant also have uses, with the flexible leaves sometimes used for waterproof roof material. That would be pretty interesting if we actually saw that in like Karamja. Although I don't play with roofs on, so Jagex, is there any like banana roofs in Karamja? That'd be cool. Grapes, a flowering woody vine that produces berries in large clusters. Due to its climby nature, grapevines must be grown on special structures called trellises in a vinery, like the one at Hesidius. Although a tasty treat fresh from the vine, once crushed and fermented, they make equally delicious wine. In 1 year, a successful winemaker can produce around 15,000 glasses of wine per acre of land. Gielinor's oldest and most famous vinery is the Hesidius Vinery, owned by the Hesidius family. Oranges. Brought to Gielinor by gnomes, this tree produces small round fruit. Oranges consist of a waxy tough outer skin known as a rind, a layer of interlaced bitter white web of tissue known as a pith, and finally the juicy segments and a few seeds. Oranges are commonly peeled, removing the rind and pith, and eaten fresh or squeezed for juice. The thick bitter rind can also be used in certain recipes as a food flavouring or garnish. To answer the age-old question, the fruit was named first, with the earliest recorded mention coming from the first gnome settlers, Although hard to believe, there probably wasn't a specific name for the colour until the fruit itself was widely available. Before then, linguists believe that people generally refer to the colour orange as yellow-red. Curry, a tropical tree with distinct yellow-green leaves which can be picked and used as a seasoning. Curry leaves can be added to a traditional stew to make the fragrant spice dish of the same name. Rumour has it that curry is considered a delicacy among the demon nobility. Wait. So demon nobility, does that refer to the demon butler that you hire as a servant in your player and house? Does this refer to Agrith Nar, the demon you summon during Shadow of the Storm? Does it refer to that demon that you defeat during Demon Slayer quests? Does it refer to Zamorak's Krill Tutsurov? He's a demon, right? Or maybe Zolcano, she's a demon. Skatizo, he's a demon. Oh god, I have so many questions now. Okay, so rumour has it that curry is considered a delicacy among the demon nobility and is consumed in large amounts, especially during celebrations. Pineapples, a tropical plant native to the island of Karamja. The pineapple itself is what's botanically known as a multiple fruit. A multiple fruit is where a plant produces a large number of flowers with the individual berries joining together to create one large fruit. Although a tasty, exotic treat, eating or handling too much raw pineapple can be risky. This is because raw pineapple has a similar effect to acid, causing skin discomfort. All I can think of now is the acid poison splashes that Lizard and shamans do. Oh my god, bar ashes too! Oh, we gotta stop and see this. But anyway, back to the pineapples. All I can think of, when I see acid and, skin discomfort, right, is how I imagine that the poison splash, green attacks from Lizard and shamans would have on, the player when you're just, running around and it, does its special attack or whatever. So, would eating pineapples produce the same kind of effect to that? How come you can slice open a pineapple, eat the pineapple slices, and then not have the same effect happen to you? Papayas, a tropical tree that produces sweet-scented flowers that only open at night. Papaya trees are moth-pollinated. The papaya fruit produced from these flowers are large berries. So are pineapples, apparently. The ripe fruit of the papaya is usually eaten raw, without skin and the seeds removed. The smell of papaya flesh is often described as unpleasant and vomit-like. Although interestingly, the smell only affects certain people. I'm glad smell-o-vision doesn't exist in RuneScape, I'll say that much. Coconuts. Grown from a palm tree, the coconut is a stone fruit and therefore not a true nut. The green outer fleshy part, or husk, surrounds the single-shelled nut. Inside the nut is a layer of white flesh. Distinct from other fruits, the center contains a large quantity of clear liquid called coconut water. As the coconut matures, the inner palm seed grows and uses the coconut water as nutrition. A hammer can be used on a coconut and the mashed flesh and water combine to make coconut milk. Coconut milk is vital to making strong antidotes and weapon poison. Because they carry their own water, coconuts can last for nearly a year and still be able to grow. Calquats, a tropical palm-like tree native only to the island of Karamja. Seems like a lot of things are related to Karamja. How do these people know what Karamja is?
Calquat is the largest fruit in the world.
As it matures, the outer skin begins to thicken and grow ridged. Although a completely inedible fruit due to its tough woody skin and hollow interior, it is cultivated instead as a way of storing liquid. Calquat kegs are popular in brewing, where they are used to store complete batches of ale. Oh, that's right, I think you can turn calquats into, kegs. Okay, that makes sense now. Dragon fruit. While often called a tree, the dragon fruit plant is actually a fruit-bearing species of cacti. Oh, that's interesting. So, I'm just thinking of cactus spines that you grow in Arc Red. It makes sense. Dragon fruits are they have a lot of spines on them. They look pretty damn spiky, so I guess that makes sense and that way. The fruit produced has a very unique appearance and is delicious and sweet, both raw and when baked into a delicious pie. The fruit also contains a multitude of small crunchy seeds which have a pleasant nutty taste. Dragon fruits seem to have some magical properties, as when heated, they produce a unique fluid with similar properties to dragon fire. This odd feature of the fridge is likely where the name comes from. Holy shit! Dragonfire? Is there a way to make like a fire potion? The reverse of an anti-fire potion, but you use dragon fruit and then you just like throw these potions like you do holy water in the Legends quest, and you just like toss it at dragons and it damages them. Like, that would be really cool. It wouldn't be useful on this account because I wouldn't be able to go to gardening trial to plant said dragon fruit tree in the first place, but I am interested to know.
Hope you all enjoyed. Good night and hope you sleep well.